All right, we will pivot to our second topic. We have done a video on this a long time ago, Mike, but as it gets closer and closer to, I believe, 2035, when this will actually come to head, DC's doing some things to celebrate their 100th anniversary here in the next decade. So I think they've announced a plan to kind of every year do a sort of celebration of each decade. But the main thing we want to talk about, Superman and Batman are creeping closer to becoming property of the public domain to where basically anything can be done with those characters. Mike, do you think this is an upcoming iceberg a la the Titanic for DC Comics? Do you think this will be good for comic book fans? Like, what do you think about these major properties getting closer and closer to public domain?
Well, if anybody, DC has been the bulldog on their IP from the very beginning, suing Fawcett for, creating Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have historically have had a very aggressive legal team. So I imagine this is maneuvering to make sure that they keep
As
control of their
good as they
intellectual
can.
property. So Superman came out in 1938 and Batman came out in 1939. So arguably we're a little further away, but DC's first comic, More Fun Comics, under Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson, came out in 35, and Detective Comics started, well, 27 issues, so
Mm-hmm.
about 2 years
Batman,
um,
maybe.
before Batman came out. So we are creeping towards that century mark. That's really good. But I think, yeah, this is a ploy to make sure that they keep a handle on their intellectual property. And incidentally, the first, what was it, the first night?
Batman First Night, yeah, those early
Yeah,
it's kind of
that got a second
yeah, it's got a
thing, so
second
that'll
one
be
coming out.
good. Purple gloves and all.
Do you think this when this does happen? Do you think this is going to be good or bad for comic books in DC? Do you think like when Superman and Batman become public domain, do you think that will be a good thing? Do you think that's going to hurt DC? Like, if you had to project, what will that do to DC Comics as a company when these become public domain? What's your best guess?
I haven't seen good things happen so far with some iconic characters that have turned 100.
Mm-hmm.
Winnie the Pooh,
Slasher flick, yeah.
Popeye, so I haven't seen good things happen. So you can imagine at DC, they're like, can we figure something out,
How can
boys?
we? Yeah, I think the sad thing for this is I public domain. I agree with. I think you should. I mean, we know a lot of fictional characters. Sherlock Holmes, I believe, is public domain. I think Conan is public domain, and there's a huge difference. You've got Titan Comics that like is the official license, can use everything, but I believe there was I don't remember the company that was public. There was something the Cimmerian, and they were basically retelling Conan tales, and those were pretty good, but not great. I think the interest, like you mentioned, Winnie the Pooh and that stuff, that's the thing that scares me a little bit about public domain is we're gonna have the Superman slasher flick, we're gonna have the Batman slasher flick, and I mean, look, there's all kinds of evil Supermans and things like that at this point, but I don't know. I wish public domain would be people of good intent who get the public domain and go, you know what, man, I don't like the stories DC's telling, so I'm going to tell a classic Superman story that DC, and that would be great if we get that. I have a feeling those will get buried by the Winnie the Pooh blood and honey thing that we
Yeah,
got dead, and
exactly.
I think we're getting a Bambi slasher flick. I mean, the sadly the stupid things I think will overpopulate the genuine folks who go, man, hey, I've got creative license to do this. And I will say, like you said, there hasn't been the greatest results on things becoming public domain as of yet. Right? I
Mm.
don't know anything where a character's public domain and you go like, oh wow, that worked really well. Sherlock Holmes, I think, has had a few books and stories that have worked okay. Um, Conan's comics were, but they're nowhere near what we're getting. I don't know that it's a huge iceberg for DC. I think officially controlling it, and I think the comic book collector market of being, hey, issue 1077 of Detective Comics matters to people who collect that. I don't know. if public domain will ever impact that. It will be interesting to see how far public domain goes. Can people theoretically make Batman action figures? Can they theoretically make Superman figures? Like, how much does that extend? What can they do? Can they create their own version? It'll be really interesting. It's going to be a game changer for sure. But let us know, what are you guys' thoughts down below. I would say I have flip flopped on this a lot, but I'm not looking forward to it because I do think we're going to get more stupid stuff than actual well meaning people doing it. But would be interested. What do you guys think down below about public domain upcoming for some of these huge DC characters, and Marvel not too far off after that as well, with characters like Captain America and Human Torch?